Hi, this is Chris from Highline Handmade Guitars. What follows in this video is a slideshow depicting the construction of a guitar which I'm calling the Home Depot Caster. Why the Home Depot Caster? Well, that's because I purchased all the wood from my local Home Depot store. I did this because I wanted to show that you don't necessarily have to build a guitar from really exotic woods. Chances are you can find perfectly usable wood at Home Depot and make yourself a very nice guitar. Now, of course, every Home Depot is going to have a different selection of wood available, so you'll have to check and see what they've got. The ones in my area just happen to carry a pretty good selection of flamed maple, which I could use for the neck and the fretboard. For the body, I'm using Douglas fir, and then the top is a 1/4 inch thick piece of ordinary plywood. So sit back and enjoy, and I hope that you are inspired to build your own Home Depot caster. One of the problems that I encountered with the Douglas fir is it's not really dry enough to use as a guitar body. So what I did was, before I glued the body halves together, is I put them in the oven at 225 degrees for a couple of hours. And that took it from about 25% moisture content down to around 8%, which is just fine for building guitars. The top, which is a 1/4 inch thick plywood, was plenty dry, so it was ready to go. I was fortunate in that the Home Depot in my neighborhood carries a pretty decent selection of maple, and after looking through the boards they had available, I found a piece that had some really nice flame figure in it, so that's what I used for the neck and for the fretboard. I took a piece of the maple left over from making the neck, and I cut off a slice to make the fretboard. It's about a 1/4 inch thick. Then I took it to my belt sander and sanded a radius of 12 inches. To cut the slots for the frets, I have a mini table saw and a simple jig that I use. Here I'm transferring the shape of the neck to the back of the fretboard, and then I cut out the shape using my bandsaw. Before I can attach the fretboard, I have to install a truss rod. The truss rod will keep the neck from warping once the guitar has been strung up. And then I use a lot of clamps to glue the fretboard down into place. I used a walnut dowel to make the fretboard markers. And then I used some plastic rod for the side marker dots. All that's left to do on the neck is to install the frets, which I'll do later. Now I have to do some final finish sanding. And that's some sweet Home Depot figure. With the neck temporarily installed, it's starting to look like a guitar. Can't believe how nice the grain looks on this Douglas fir. Here I'm testing some Minwax on some scrap to make sure it's going to do what I want it to do. The control cavity cover is made from leftover plywood. Here I've carefully sanded the neck to body joint so that it matches. Next I drilled holes for mounting all the hardware. Black binding around the perimeter of the body really classes it up. I picked up a pint of Minwax red mahogany stain from Home Depot, and that's what I used to stain the entire body and neck of the guitar. Then I used some artist oil paints to blend the transition from the body to the neck. I I use the control cover to test out a new clear coating product. It's called Solarez. It's a polyester resin that cures in ordinary sunlight. And of course, the headstock needs a logo. I used my inkjet printer to make a transfer. After the transfer had dried, I put a coat of polyester resin over it. Then it was time to start clear coating the body. After the polyester clear coat had cured, I started to dry sand it level. And as you can see, polyester buffs out beautifully. To speed things up, I used a Bosch random orbital sander that I bought from Home Depot. Check out that shine. While the finish on the guitar was drying, I went ahead and started making the pickups. This guitar will feature 2 humbuckers. The controls for this guitar will consist of a 3-way toggle switch, a master volume, and a master tone. A guitar is only as good as its setup. I take a lot of time to make sure that the frets are perfect. First, the frets are precisely leveled. I carefully check each one to make sure it's perfect. Then the flat tops are recrowned so that they're nice and round. Then I remove the scratches with a special diamond crowning file. The surface is then polished using a special grinding tool. Then I use a small 3-corner file to round over the ends of the fret wire. A trip to the buffer puts a nice shine on those frets. And finally, it was time for assembly.
Hey guys, well I finally finished the Home Depot caster guitar. All the wood for this guitar was purchased at Home Depot. It has flame maple neck and fretboard. The back of the body is Douglas fir, and then the top is 1/4-inch thick plywood. So it's, pretty simple. And I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. The pickups are humbuckers, which I wound myself. It has just a simple volume control and then a tone knob with a .047 capacitor on it. So I'll give you an idea how it sounds. I'm going to play it through my Palomino V16 tube amp. But you're going to have to bear with me because I am a left-handed guitarist and this is a right-handed guitar. And I'm not the type of guitarist who can switch from left to right seamlessly. I can only play left-handed, so until I can get somebody in here who can put this guitar through its paces, you're just going to have to put up with my simple strumming. So, but this is what the bridge humbucker sounds like. Here's what the neck sounds like. tone knob has quite a bit of adjustment range. You can go from really warm